Okay, in the previous step we learned how we can optimize the scene with using Google APIs for 3D photogrammetry terrain. In this step we want to learn how we can export a scene for virtual reality for Oculus Quest 2. Okay, first we should assure that the platform of the project has to be Android. After that, we should go over the player settings, and here check the IL2CPP. By the way, in the beginning of the project I mentioned these points, but these points are essential for virtual reality Quest as well. So IL2CPP and these two architectures for target, they have to be checked. After that, we should come over here. If you are using Oculus integration, it's better to set up these things. You can download Oculus integration from Asset Store and import it to your project. I don't want to go in deep down on those parts. If you want, you can watch my other videos, especially for virtual reality whiteboard. At that part I explained how we can use Oculus integration. Okay, just assure an Android you check down the Oculus, and now let's add our Oculus integration camera rig. It is OVR camera rig. Okay, when we added it to the scene, there was a dynamic camera in the scene, if you remember from the last video. I propose to just check off the camera of it. You can't remove it because these components needs this guy, but just disable it. Okay, after that, add the OVR camera rig prefab as a child of this dynamic camera and set the position 000 and rotation 000. After that, we should come over here into the center eye anchor. Here, set the far parameter to, for example, 10,000, and for this guy 0.1. That's it. And for the rendering, for other stuff, it's fine. It's just leave it as default. Just change the number of near and far parameters for clipping plans. After that, we should come over project settings and go to the time. By default, the number of fixed time step is 0.02. I propose to change it 0.01 to having better performance, because this project doesn't have really complicated processing. So just leave it in 0.01. And after that, go to the quality, and here make sure it has to be performant. It is really important for that. Excuse me. And make sure in here the shadow is shadow mask, and come back to the Unity editor and direction light. Set the shadow off, no shadows. Okay, because it is complicated for processing, and even no needs. And the last part is, in the previous video I explained how we can add the material to the whole terrain, to being able to change the color of terrain. Here, Google Photorealistic 3D Tiles, Oculus material, we have added this guy, but unfortunately Oculus Quest 2 cannot support reflection. So for this reason, after you test it on your Quest, and if you move your camera to somewhere else, you will see some fluctuation of the materials, and you will see some black points, brightest points. It's not good. So I propose to set it none. Okay, so remember, with this method, you can't change the color of direction light. So it means all the time, in your game, in your scene, it is noon, even if you change the color of your direction light or even delete it. Look at this, it is the same. Okay, after you do all of these things, the last part is you need to add a component to the dynamic camera which called cam movement. I want to say, okay, let's move this dynamic camera by the thumbstick of the right controller of Oculus Quest 2, and by holding the trigger you can going forward. Okay, let's take a look at this script. It is very easy. Here we have the center eye, and we have dynamic camera. Even you don't need this guy because everything has to be done by dynamic camera. If you want to align the center eye with the dynamic camera, you can use this guy, but otherwise you can ignore it. And dynamic camera, here it says OVR input.get, OVR input.button, secondary, it means right controller. Thumbstick down, it is for my test. You can ignore this part because it is for my test on my editor. What matter is for Oculus Quest, this line is enough. And dynamic camera dot rotate, it is the velocity, so it can be any number, honestly. For example, I added number 2, and it can be even more or less. It depends on your decision. For my test, it was fine. And for thumbstick down, it is 200, and thumbstick up -200. And for left, it is 0 -2 and right 0 to 0. And here it is for going forward. All of these are dynamic camera dot rotate, but this guy, it is translate, and it is going forward despite the Z angle. And here when we hold secondary index trigger, okay, it is the right trigger of the right controller. Okay, you just need to add this script to your dynamic camera and add the dynamic camera to this parameter, to this variable. After that, save your scene and go to the build settings. Make sure you have added your scene to the list of the scenes in build, and export an APK and install it on your Oculus Quest. After that, you can test it. Alright, let's test our scene. It is the Vancouver city. Let's test our scene on Oculus Quest and let's see what will happen. Let's go to the Oculus Quest.